Hey everyone. So now that you've created an account on Turnitin and you have submitted an assignment on Turnitin, now I want to show you how to interpret or how to view the feedback that your professor is likely to give you. So I have created a dummy account here, um, and this is what all of you will see. Your class name will be different, obviously, but you'll see your instructor name over here. And you go ahead and click on the class, and you'll see a list of the assignments that you have uh, been assigned, as well as any that you have submitted. So in this case, I have submitted this thing right here, and you'll see a bunch of stuff here. So let's talk about what each of these things mean. So over here you have a rubric, and you can scroll, you can hover your mouse over any of these things and it'll give you a brief little explanation. But let me go ahead and explain. So here's the assignment that I've submitted. And if I see this icon right here, this little grid shaped icon, that means that my professor has created a rubric for that assignment. And then, and I can see the rubric. So I can click right here and see the rubric. And that lets me know what I'm going to be graded on. And then I'll see the start date. That's when you can start submitting for this assignment. The due date is obviously the date when the assignment is due. And then the post date is the date when you can start to see the feedback from your professor. Over here, every time you submit something to Turnitin, you are given a similarity report. And basically what this is a plagiarism checker. And so you'll get a percentage from 0 to 100. And so this is telling me right here that my submission that I've created is 0% plagiarized. In other words, it has 0% similarity to anything else in their database. And then they also give you this rectangle over here that's color coded. Now this rectangle is it's going to be different colors. So it starts out blue, and it goes green, then yellow, then orange, then red. And your professor will tell you what percentage that they are accepting for whatever given assignment. And then you have the submit button. Now, as long as the assignment is still within the start and due date range, this submit button will be a dark blue like this. But once it passes the due date range, this submit button is no longer, I can't click on it. See? So, but I can view the assignment that I have submitted. So let me talk about the submit button for just a second more. Basically, if you submit something and let's say you forget to include a works cited page, or when you submit it you realize the similarity report is much too high, or whatever, for whatever reason, if you want to resubmit, as long as it's not past the due date, all you have to do is click on the submit button again. It'll say resubmit, and it will save over top of the original file that you put in here. So it'll be like you never submitted something initially. So it replaces the other file. So then once you've submitted something, once it's past the post date, I can click on view, and here is my essay. And in this essay, you'll see a couple of options here. So if your professor has attached a rubric to the assignment, you can click right here where it says View Rubric. And if I click on this, it will open up the rubric, and you'll notice that some of the boxes are a shade of blue. So what this tells me is that my professor has given me a 4 out of 5 for content and 5 out of 5 for the rest of this. And I can read basically what each thing represents. Also, sometimes your professor will give you verbal feedback. They'll record a video or an audio message on here, and you can click on that and see what they said. Also, your professor might give you some feedback right here where it says text comment. Some professors, like me, we like to, and I'll enlarge this real quick, we like to highlight things in your actual text and give you some specific feedback on specific things that you're doing right or wrong or whatever. And you can click on any of these blue boxes inside here to get further explanation. Also, if they have this turned on, the e-rater turned on, then it will also have purple boxes, which are basically like a grammar check. Now, your professor might have that enabled or disabled. It just depends. And then in here, if your submission has any sort of similarity to some other submission, you'll see the percent number right here. Mine was 0, so the 0 is right here. And you can always click on this to see what Turnitin is saying is plagiarized or similar to something else. So you can click right here and it'll show up over here. It'll say, 5% of it comes from this website, 7% of it comes from this website. And you can click on the websites over here and it'll highlight the pieces that it's flagging in the assignment, and then you can click on the websites over here to go to that website and see what it's counting against you. So all sorts of great stuff in here. So anyway, hopefully that. Oh, the last thing I forgot to mention is the most important thing. Up here in the top right corner is your score. So, if your professor has created a rubric, then whenever they click on the rubric and click on the different options on the rubric, it will tally up the score automatically. Or your professor might give type in a manual score here or whatever. And so I can see here that I've been given a 96 out of 100. And that is the score that my professor gave me. So, anyway, I hope that was helpful, and hopefully you now understand why you got what you got, and hopefully you understand now how to uh, view feedback from your professor.